Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see very important current affairs that appeared in our today's Hindi newspaper. So let's get started with our discussion and please don't skip this video anywhere. So try to watch till last so that you will be getting lots of insights regarding how you have to analyze Hindu news articles. And before seeing that articles, I want to make a small announcement, guys. We in Rathod Science Academy, we are going to start new Prelims cum Mains Foundation batch for 2026 and that is from April 8th onwards. From April 8th to April 12th, so we are also going to provide you the free 5 days demo classes. And if you want to watch online, you can download our Rathod Science Academy app and you can watch them there. Or else if you want to take offline, so you can come up to our institute and you can sit in the class and you can listen to the classes. And the timings of that class is 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, and if you want to get more details regarding this course, you can contact us on this number 8074765513 and even you can text me on that number itself. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can come to institute and you can talk to me. I will be available from morning to evening in institute. Okay, so now let us see the first important article, guys. So if you see the title, it says that 21 killed in explosion at firecracker warehouse. So very important topic. So whenever there is a loss of life or loss of property, that comes under your disaster, right? So from which subject we can say this? Disaster management. So this article is talking about firecracker blast. Okay, firecracker industry blast. So from which subject you can see this, guys? From GS paper 3 under disaster management. Okay, so what are the things that you have to see? So actually this article is talking about firecracker accident happened, right? So you have to see about locations of firecracker industry. Very important. So why? Because normally during this November, October and September and as well as in December months, you can see this kind of newspaper articles regarding blast and firecracker industries, especially in Tamil Nadu. But this case is an exception. Why? Because it is seen in Gujarat. So you have to draw a map of India and you have to see like in which areas of our country we have firecracker industries. First most important point. And the very famous location is Sivakasi. Sivakasi region is located in Tamil Nadu region. So now this incident happened in Gujarat. And normally we can see this Tamil Nadu is very vulnerable. So like that you have to see in which locations we have this firecracker industries in our country. First important point. And next you have to see what are the causes for this accidents in this firecracker industries. And third important one is you have to see what is the impact. And you have to see what are the measures taken by the government so far. And next one is you have to see which is the organization responsible for looking after this firecracker industries in India, that is PESO. You have to see about this PESO. Okay, so all these are very important, guys. And I am talking about this firecrackers, right? So you have to know about which chemicals are used in this manufacturing of firecrackers. And you have to make a list of the chemicals and you have to see which colors they will produce while we are burning that so and so firecracker. And even you have to see about green crackers. You have to see about green crackers and next one here is you have to see examples of this green crackers and even advantages of this green crackers. So whenever you are getting any article in news, you have to cover that in this 360 degrees dimension, so that if you are getting any question from that so and so topic, you will be having enough content and so that you can write a very good answer, guys. Okay, so now let us see this article clearly. So context says that at least 21 persons including children and women. So who are vulnerable here? Children as well as women. They are killed, and around 6 people they got injured in a powerful blast which happened in one warehouse in Gujarat. So if you are talking about what are the challenges, so already I said that many a times we will be getting this kind of articles repeatedly during this festive season of Dasra and as well as this Diwali and as well as New Year. In that celebrations, normally the firecrackers will be burst, right? So actually what happens here is many a times government is taking lot of steps to control this accidents in this firecracker industries. But we are having certain challenges. You have to know what challenges we are having to control this kind of explosions in this firecracker industries. The first and the foremost important challenge that we are having is illegal units. Especially the industry in Tamil Nadu has become much more dispersed with many illegal units. So normally in their home itself they are manufacturing this crackers illegal. The first one is illegal units. Next one here is workers are engaged to work for 8 to 12 hours, especially during these festivals like Diwali, Dasra and as well as New Year celebrations, etc. At that time, so there is a very high burden on the workers, and now they have to work for 8 to 12 hours. Whenever workers are working for the long period of time, can we ensure the proper quality? Quality will be not there. And even we know that whenever people they are working tirelessly means, so they will be also not focusing on the safety. Okay, they will be not focused properly on proper handling of this chemicals. So because of this, many a times we will be having these accidents in these firecrackers. And next one is there is no proper regulation. So firecracker units they function with very little supervision, very little monitoring, and even inspections will be done very rarely. Okay, and next one here is though the work in the unit happens year round, the monitoring will be done only during festive seasons. Only during the festival seasons, what happens? Inspections will be done by the authorities, not throughout the year. So it is also one important reason. And next one here is the people who are working in this industry, they don't have proper training regarding handling of chemicals. Okay, next one here is there is also a problem called as the people who are working in that industry, they don't have even proper experience as well, and even they don't know how to manage the safety guidelines, how they have to follow the safety guidelines, and even many a times this manufacturing of crackers will happen in house. Okay, and next one here is we are having one more problem. So what is the organization that we have that will be managing this firecracker industry in India? As I said, that is PESO. PESO is nothing but Petroleum and Explosive Safety Organization. So in that organization also we have shortage of people or shortage of staff. So because of that we don't have proper monitoring. So how many people we have? Only 5 people are there, and these 5 officials they have to monitor more than 1000 units. That means they are having increased burden on the work, right? So actually what can be done? What is the way forward? The first and the foremost thing here is we can go for regular inspections. That means we need to increase monitoring on this units. Okay. And next one here is we have to provide training for these people who are working in that region. Yes or no? So if we are increasing the skill, like how we have to handle them, how we have to dry them, how we have to store the chemicals, everything. If the people are getting proper skills, obviously there will be no mishandling of chemicals. And next one here is we have to establish a committee at the district level and as well as state level, so that they will be taking care of managing of illegal units. And next one here is we have to give awareness to these people who are working in this industries regarding what is the mixing ratio of chemicals. Okay, and next one here is industry now they have to take the responsibility of life and as well as health of workers. So if in case if any firecracker industry had got this accident or any blast, so if there is a killing or the loss of life of the people who are working in that industry means, so now it is the responsibility of that so and so industry to take care of the life and as well as health of the workers. Then what happens? They will be maintaining proper conditions or safety environment in the place of the working, right? So all these things that you have to remember. And now you have to know about even some facts regarding this PESO, because in UPSC you can expect prelims based question from PESO, guys. So what is PESO? Petroleum and Explosive Safety Organization. So actually this PESO is formally called as Department of Explosives, and actually it came up into existence in year 1898 itself, and it is serving as a nodal agency for regulating safety and as well as hazardous substances in our country. And actually here this PESO was established based on one act, so it is a statutory body. So which act which deals with that? That is Explosive Acts of 1884 and Petroleum Act of 1934. Okay, and what is the important motive of this act? That is safety is first. And what is the important objective of this PESO? The important objective of this PESO is to provide operational and technical advice, and even it have to provide some help or assistance to central government, to states, local bodies, law enforcement agencies, and even industries, trade, and as well as users. So this is the important aims and objectives of this PESO. So in this way, you have to cover this article clearly, guys. And now let us see the next article. Title says bulldozing of 6 homes in UP's Prayagraj inhumane and illegal, Supreme Court. So actually what happened was in UP. So this incident happened in UP. So they went for bulldozing or crashing down of 6 homes in this UP, and finally Supreme Court gave a judgment on that bulldozer justice. Supreme Court said that this kind of activities are inhumane and illegal. Why? Because the fundamental right of people is getting affected. Which is that fundamental right? Right to shelter. So if their homes is like slashed, or like whenever we are destroying their homes, where they live, do they have proper shelter? No. So because of this, their fundamental rights is getting affected. So here Supreme Court finally gave a judgment. This bulldozing is inhumane and illegal. So what is the keyword, guys? Keyword is bulldozer justice. So keyword is bulldozer justice. So from which subject you can see this? Yes, from GS paper 2 under polity and governance you can see this topic, guys. Okay, and apart from that, so this topic is also important from GS paper 1 and 2 under society and as well as social issues also. Okay, so what are the dimensions you have to see? So you have to see about what is this bulldozer justice. So first of all, you have to know what is the meaning of this bulldozer justice, and you have to see in which regions of our country this is happening. So for example, this article is talking about only UP, but even in Telangana state also we have this Mission Hydra. It is also about bulldozer justice, and not only in Telangana and as well as UP, in Haryana also it is going on. So in many regions, so this bulldozer justice is going on from past 5 years or 1 decade onwards. So you have to see in which regions this bulldozer justice is going on. Okay, and you have to make a map. And next, whenever you are making a map, so you have to see what is the reason behind it. What is the reason behind this bulldozer justice? For example, Mission Hydra in Telangana state, it is focusing on removal of illegal encroachments near lakes. And in UP, they are focusing on developmental activities. Like that, you have to see what is happening in Haryana. So you have to see those locations where this bulldozer justice is happening, and you have to see what is a possible reason behind that. It is very important. And next, you have to see what is the impact and what are the causes of this bulldozer justice. And you have to see even relevant Supreme Court judgments regarding this bulldozer justice. Okay, and you have to even see about what is the way forward. So if you see all these dimensions, then you can get proper thing. And from polity point of view, you have to see fundamental rights. So actually fundamental rights are present in which part of your constitution? That is part 3 of our constitution. And which articles talks about it? Article 12 to Article 35 talks about it, right? So you have to see which of the articles will be affected by this bulldozer justice. So there is nothing but Article 21. Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty, and actually this fundamental right for shelter which also comes under part of this Article 21. Okay, so you have to see these articles, and even from polity point of view, you have to see about the Supreme Court judgments. Okay, Supreme Court judgments related to this bulldozer justice, because you may get a question regarding Supreme Court judgments also. Okay, so now let us see this topic, guys. So if you see the context, it says that Supreme Court found action taken by this Prayagraj Development Authority to bulldoze the homes of 6 private citizens into rubble, and Supreme Court said this action is inhumane and as well as illegal. So actually the bulldozer justice is happening in this UP, which is mainly taken up by Prayagraj Development Authority. Okay, you have to remember this. So which authority is doing that bulldozer justice also. So now let us see some important facts regarding this bulldozer justice. So bulldozer justice is also called as extra legal demolitions. Don't confuse with this word. So if you are getting question regarding what is extra legal demolitions, it is nothing but bulldozer justice itself. So UPSC is also having a tendency to use alternative names of the words. Okay, you have to be very careful, guys. So bulldozer justice is nothing but extra legal demolitions. So what is the meaning of bulldozer justice? It refers to instant justice mechanism, and this mechanism propagated by government of various states, and why they want to punish the people who are alleged in some riots or protesters, or if they are perpetrators of the serious crimes, by raising down, that is nothing but by demolishing their houses or stalls or construction using JCB machine. So they will be using JCB machine. JCB is nothing but the bulldozer. So this kind of justice is called as bulldozer justice. So what is justification for bulldozer justice? Is that right or not? So actually there are some legal justification. The first one here is state government officials, they can go for demolition of any kind of things because they are justified under their municipal laws. Okay, under the municipal laws, so it is authority of the state government, they can go for raised or like demolishing of the houses if they are constructed under unauthorized construction or unauthorized areas, or if they are constructing anything on illegal areas, or if they are constructing by encroachment of the lakes or water bodies. Yes, it is now the authority who is at the authority, that is nothing but state government, can go for bulldozing. For example, here UP Municipal Corporation Act and UP Urban Planning and Development Act, they are using this for demolishing of the houses. And this one here is second important justification is we can maintain public order and deterrence. So if the people who are doing crimes, so if we are demolishing their related things, then what happens? We can create a fear of law in the minds of criminals. And next one here is we can also restore order, law and order. So whenever state governments, they are demolishing the illegal properties of those who are accused in communal conflicts, that will help to restore order, and as well as that will also help to ease tensions during the violence. For example, especially Haryana government is using bulldozer justice for new violence. And this one is to clear intent. So even Solicitor General of India said that when we are going for this kind of demolitions in states like Madhya Pradesh, they are not aimed at any specific minority groups, and also we are not affecting the properties owned by the people from so and so things. Especially we want to clear encroachments. So for encroachments clearance, MP state is going for bulldozer justice. And this one here is even in UP also bulldozer justice, which helped this revenue department to free up around 67,000 acres of land mafia also. So these are the things while we are going for this bulldozer justice in different states. For example, Haryana, MP, UP and even Telangana state. So you have to draw a map and you have to see these locations and you have to write what is the reason behind that. So that in that way only you can improve your presentation, your mains answers. Okay. And now let us see the Supreme Court suggestions on these demolitions. So Supreme Court said that whenever we are going for this demolition or this bulldozer justice, so we have to go for giving of permission for this local laws. So local laws, they have to permit for the removal of encroachments and as well as unauthorized construction. Okay, so the Supreme Court is saying that so the reason in UP is different, reason in Haryana is different, reason in MP is different and reason in Telangana is different. So we need to come up with uniform guidelines. Okay, throughout our country we have to come up with a uniform guidelines if we want to go for this bulldozer justice. And next one here is, whenever we are providing any guidelines, that needs to focus on how unauthorized structure should be identified. So we have to give a clear-cut guidelines like which comes under unauthorized construction, and we have to ensure proper notices should be issued before we are going for demolishing of that so and so area. And court also said that we must be very cautious regarding the guidelines, okay, because it should not cause any communal violence in the society. And next one is, we have to go for digitalization of notices. Whenever we are giving the notices, so it should not be like paper notices. We have to go for giving of digitalized notices, so that what happened, we can prevent backdated notices, so that we can implement that so and so thing universally throughout our country. Okay, and what is the way forward? The way forward is, we can go for pre-demolition surveys. So before going for demolition and before violating the right of the people, we have to go for surveys and we have to give advance notice for the people. Okay, next one here is national guidelines to demolition procedure. So if you want to go for bulldozer justice in any state, we need to have a universal, that is nothing much, we need to have a unified guidelines. And this one is, we have to focus on stricter legal adherence, and even we need to have the proof of demolition as well. And next one here is, we need to have independent oversight mechanism, and not only that, we need to go for reformation as well. Okay, so all these things that you have to include in way forward, guys. And now let us see the next article. Title says 4th edition of India-US amphibious exercise begins. So this article is also very important because UPSC will give a question in your prelims regarding exercises. It may be military exercise, or it may be naval exercise, or air force exercise between the countries. So this article is talking about one exercise between India and US, and the name of this exercise is Tiger Triumph. Okay, so let me write here. The name of that exercise is Tiger Triumph 2025. So from which subject it is important, guys? From defense. From GS paper 3 under defense, this article is important. So if you are getting any kind of exercise in news, so here you have to make a notes in tabular format. So give or allocate 2 to 3 papers only for exercise in your current affairs book at last. So here you can write name of that science exercise, and next you have to see countries, and you have to see which kind of exercise, whether it is military or navy or air force, and next you have to see what is the aim and as well as objectives of that so-and-so exercise. If you are writing this column, it is very, very useful. And even you have to write which edition is it. So now this article is saying that it is a 4th edition, right? So it is a 4th edition and it is between India and US. Okay, so like that you have to make the notes, guys. So now let us see this article clearly. So if you are talking about the context, the 4th edition of Tiger Triumph 2025, and actually it is a humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, that is HADR. HADR, which is ambitious exercise between India and US. Okay, so if you see what is the important aim of this Tiger Tribe 2025 is to develop interoperability for what? For conducting humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations, and even we are going to come up with standard operating procedures to establish a combined coordination center so that we can provide rapid and smooth coordination between India and US. Okay, that is joint task forces. So actually here Indian Armed Forces as well as US Navy and Marine Troop will be participating in this exercise. Okay, so all these things that you have to remember, guys. And now let us see the next article, the most important article of the day. And actually there is also one editorial in your today's newspaper based on the same thing. This is because of 75 years of anniversary between India and China relations. And this year for sure in 2025 means you can expect a question regarding this India-China relations. So try to make a good and proper notes regarding India and China relations, guys. So now let us see the title. It says that Xi Jinping calls for elephant dragon duet on 75th anniversary of ties between India and China. Okay, so actually what is happening? So nothing but this year 2025, which marks 75th anniversary of establishment of India and China bilateral relations. Okay, so because of this now two countries they are going to have a duet regarding dragon and elephant. So we are not focusing on that, but we are focusing on, so what is this 75 years of relation is about, and what is the history of India-China relations, and what are the milestones that happened in the recent past, and you have to see about what is the way forward, what are the challenges. Okay, and if you see the historical overview of India-China relations, so the first important thing here is you have to see when our formal relations had been started with China. So formally the diplomatic relations, they started from April 1st, 1950. And actually initially when we started this diplomatic relations with China, so we focused on mutual goodwill, and we came up with one slogan called as Hindi Chini Bye Bye, that is nothing but India and China are brothers. So if you see the key milestones in the bilateral relations, so in 1954 we came up with this Panchashila agreement. Panch means nothing but 5, right? So we came up with 5 principles in our foreign policy towards China. So for what we came up with this Panchashila agreement? Especially to establish peace and especially peaceful coexistence between India and China. And next one here is 1962, one major incident that happened between India and China, that is China-India war. It is also called as Sino-India war. And this conflict is about regarding border. Okay, it is nothing but border dispute between India and China. That led to damaging of relations between India and China. And later on, after this instance, by this 1988 to 1993, so we focused on normalizing of our relationship with this China. So during whose period? During Rajiv Gandhi period. And we came up with agreements which had been signed on peace and as well as tranquility along the border. And next one here is during 2000s, bilateral trade had been increased. Especially we focused on increasing of trade partnership with this China. And China became one of the India's largest trading partner during this 2000s. And this one here is during 2017, Doklam issue happened. And during this 2020, what happened? The issue between India and China along LAC region. And till today also there is no complete disengagement between India and China along this LAC region. So these are the some events which happened between India and China. So if you are talking about the recent developments and as well as diplomatic exchanges between India and China, what are they? The first one here is, in this year, that is in 2025, foreign secretaries visit to China. So actually we are focusing on the talks regarding border stability. And actually here both countries are agreeing to maintain peace and as well as tranquility along this LAC region. And this one is we are focusing on economic cooperation as well. So So especially we are focusing on trade and as well as investment discussions. And this one is we are focusing on improving of people to people contact or people to people exchange. So how we can conduct some cultural programs and educational collaborations. And this one is China is also focusing on stabling of ties between India and China as well. Especially we are focusing on importance, especially we are giving importance for handling of differences so that we can improve the stability between India and China relations. Okay, so if you are talking about the challenges, what are the challenges we are having between India and China? So first important one that you have to make a note is LAC region. That is across this LAC region and along this Arunachal Pradesh and as well as middle sector, that is western sector, middle sector and eastern sector, we are having border disputes. So because of this border disputes, only 1962 war happened and even in 2020 the Galwan Valley incident happened. So in that Galwan Valley incident, around 19 Indian soldiers they lost their life. Okay, so one important challenge here is border dispute. And this one is if you see the trade between India and China, so trade surplus is having with China and India is having trade deficit. It is one important problem between India and China. And next one here is regional and global rivalry. So actually what happened, so India is increasing its contacts or India is increasing its relationship with other countries like US, Australia, Japan, and we recently formed this Quad, right, that is quadrilateral dialogue. And even to counter that, here China is mainly increasing its influence in this Indo-Pacific region, and China also came up with this project called as BRI, that is Belt and Road Initiative. So because of this, it wants to increase its influence in other countries. Okay, so these are the certain challenges that we are having between India and China. So you have to make a note of that. And now let us see the next article, guys. Title says 6 districts most affected by left-wing extremism, says Shah. So actually you know that Naxalism is one important problem. Naxalism or Maoism or left-wing extremism. So these three words are same thing. Okay, don't confuse. So actually in our country we are having this problem of left-wing extremism. That is nothing but Naxalism. So actually this article is saying that there are certain districts, especially 4 districts in Chhattisgarh, 1 district in West Bengal and 1 district in Maharashtra. So they are mostly affected by this left-wing extremism. And our Home Minister gave a statement that we are going to end this Naxalism or left-wing extremism by 2026 in this region. So here just see about what are the measures which are taken by the government so far to control this Naxalism in our country. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Now let us see the next article. Title says tackling the disinformation threat in India. So the keyword here is disinformation or misinformation. So keyword is disinformation or misinformation. So from which subject you can say this? From GS paper 2 under governance and even from GS paper 3 under science and technology you can see this, guys. And you have to see from GS paper 1 and 2 society and social issues point of view. So what are the dimensions you have to see from governance? You have to see about what is this misinformation is about. And next one is why there is a spread of misinformation and what are the reasons behind this spreading of this misinformation. And next you have to see what is the impact of this misinformation. You have to collect any report or any indices which is talking about misinformation in our country. And you have to see certain examples of sharing of deep fakes. Sharing of deep fakes. And next you have to see why in social media platforms. Why in social media platforms there is spread of this misinformation. And already government is taking lot of measures to control this misinformation or disinformation. So we are facing certain challenges. So what are those challenges? You have to see that as well. Okay, so if you are doing all these things, then you can write a very good essay and as well as a very good mains answer. Okay guys, now let us see this topic clearly. So So if you see the report, please make a note of this report. So here WEF, that is nothing but World Economic Forum, released one report. That report name is Global Risk Report 2025. Okay, World Economic Forum released this Global Risk Report 2025. And this report is saying that yes, misinformation, disinformation is there in India, and especially there is a very high and very fast spreading of misinformation and disinformation is happening in India. Okay, so what is this global risk? Global risk is nothing but it is an event that adversely affect the sizable portion of population. That means large group of people will be getting affected, and it will be not only affecting the people but even global GDP and as well as natural resources, everything will be getting affected. So that is called as global risk according to this WEF. Okay, now let us see the details. So if you see the details, it mainly says that there is rising of misinformation and disinformation. So why? Because of growth of this digital medias, because of growth of this social media, because of AI generated content, that is nothing but deepfakes. So deepfakes are nothing but morphing of images or like morphing of videos. Okay, so because of AI generated content, that led to increasing of spreading of misinformation or disinformation. So because of this, what happens? The trust on that so and so person or so and so institution or so and so thing will be obviously eroded. So this is the one important thing which mainly raised by this report. And if you see some important facts regarding this misinformation, it refers to false or inaccurate information. It is false or inaccurate information that is spread without the intent to deceive, and often because a person is sharing that like he believes that information is true and he will be sharing that information. So as you all know that if there is any small information or if there is any small post which is posted in the social media accounts, and what happens, it will be spreading very fast and it will become viral within minutes, right? So here that is a thing that you have to remember regarding this misinformation. And what are the challenges we are having? So especially we are using social media platforms. Like for example, you can take Twitter or you can take Facebook or you can take Instagram. So in the social media platforms, what happens whenever we are getting an information, that will be spread very fastly. And next one here is, if you are seeing any post, will you check whether it is correct or not? So blindly believe that so and so information is correct, right? So here there is a problem called as remoteness of readers. For example, if I am studying anything regarding, or if I see any post regarding UP, will I check the facts? No. Whether it is right or wrong? No, right? So actually what happens, so the people who are seeing that information may not present from that area, so that they cannot analyze what is right or what is wrong, and simply they will also share that image. Okay, and next one here is, if you open your WhatsApp, you will be seeing like end-to-end encrypted. So because of this end-to-end encryption, now it is becoming a very tough for even authorities to get the information from that so and so chats. Okay, so this is also one important problem. And not only that, many people, they don't have the proper literacy regarding the media. Media literacy is nothing but, so if you open any Google or if you're searching for anything, so you'll be getting advertisements and you'll be getting genuine information. So many of you, I think you might be also not knowing about which is advertisement and which is genuine information. So that is nothing but media illiteracy. So because of this media illiteracy also, so many a times there is a spreading of misinformation and disinformation. And especially there is one term which is there in news, that is called as greenwashing. Greenwashing is nothing but, so they will be giving certain things but that will be not present in that so and so product. That is called as greenwashing. So because of this greenwashing also, there is increasing of disinformation and as well as misinformation. And next one here is, what are the negative impacts? So what happens? You will be getting false information because of this disinformation, right? This is called as information bubbles. So you have to use this kind of words, information bubbles. And because of this misinformation, that will lead to communal violence or racism or sometimes misogyny, and even sometimes it will lead to discrimination. And next one is, there is also threat to our democracy. And next one here is, if you are spreading misinformation, disinformation in the social media platforms, do we achieve these sustainable development goals? So we can't achieve these sustainable development goals. And obviously it will be having adverse impact on our economy also. Because if there is any communal violence, if there is any panic which is creating in our society, what happens? The people, will they do the work? No, the people will not do the work. So because of this, what happened? Obviously, economy will be drastically come down, so that it will be having negative impacts on that economy, on that society, on individual level, at societal level, at the district level, at the state level, and as well as at the national level also. So these are the some important things that you have to remember from this article. And by this I am concluding, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this class. If you really like this class, please hit the like button and please do share this class. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy. And thank you guys for watching.